All right, what's up? What's up? What's up, people? Therapy Without a Degree, chapter 171. All right, 171. Actually, no, I'm lying. 172. Chapter 172. We have myself in the building. You guys already know, Joe Fucarino. We have to my left, Mr. Zain.
Zain in the building.
Zain in the building. Mr. I Am Zain Studios. He's over there. And then we got Paloma in the building.
Hello, everyone.
What's going on? How y'all been? What you been up to, Paloma?
Had a photo shoot yesterday. Learned some new tricks on Lightroom, so I'm excited to try it out in future photo shoots.
She trying to be like Zayn 2.0?
Yeah, except he doesn't roll around on the floor like I do.
Oh, little did you know.
You don't know what we did. We're going to tell that story later. We're going to tell that story.
I need to see some BTS.
I done stepped it up a notch.
You dig yourself underground.
He definitely stepped it up. He thought I was going to kill him. Okay, then we got a very special guest in the building. Hey, what's up, miss? What's going on?
Hello. Thank you for having me. My name is Jennie Jimenez. My friends call me Jennie. I'm actually running for the Lodi Board of Education, so I'm excited about that. We're in the middle of a campaign, so we're asking people to please support us. We are, John Canizaro is one of my running mates, and Sharon Salvation is another running mate, and we are column 4, 5, and 6 on the ballot. So this year you guys are going to get mail-in ballot. So it's going to be about 3 pages long. And if you look at the last page, the third page, we are on that page. Column 4 for Sharon, column 5 for John, and column 6 for me.
It's column 6 all day. All right, I see it. That's what's up. So how long have you actually been in Lodi?
So I lived here for 16 years. Yeah, so about 13 years on Corabell, and now the past 2-3 years here on South Main Street.
Okay, all right. What brought you to Lodi?
What is it?
What brought you to Lodi?
What brought you here?
Oh, what brought me here to Lodi?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I moved here in 2004. So they told me that Lodi had a good school system. My son, he needed special education services. And and they told me that Lodi had a good child study team, a good board of education, child study team, and I came here. So they gave him an IEP, which is an individual education program where they list, modifications and accommodations for him. He was diagnosed with ADHD when he was around 6. So he needed the special services. And so they were good to us. I appreciate them. And that's another reason why I'm running for the Board of Education, because I feel like, there's a couple of things that are being done. And I feel like I could come in and hopefully make some positive change. I feel like there's no progress being made because there's a lot of conflict, and we need to get the conflict out and, put Lodi back on the map. And
or put it on the map, period. To really get the ball rolling.
Yeah.
So me and Zain over here, we actually Lodi natives. This guy, me and him went to school with each other back in class of 2008.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It's like,
You sound so excited.
He's extremely excited.
Yeah, I mean,
should I get him the wine? Should I get him the pizza?
Nah, the pizza ain't gonna
The
do
pizza ain't
nothing.
gonna happen.
How about that Rasta pasta?
Nah, I haven't been to Lodi in a minute. It was cool. Lodi was cool.
That was it.
That was it.
Nah, but okay. So what I want to get into is kind of what's some things that we all kind of feel the school system could, like, what would we want to change? And then obviously you're a lot more educated on it, Jennie. So I would love to know if you think it's something that's possible, something that is happening, something they're trying to do, or something they maybe already did. So I don't know who wants to go first.
I'm gonna talk about it. I think teachers need more consideration on what their mental health is on a daily basis, because a lot of kids get a lot of attention in their needs, which is definitely necessary, but teachers don't get the necessary needs that they need, especially financing the classrooms. On top of like checking up on their mental health, they just dump more and more and more tasks. Like this whole, it's like a whole, I don't know if you know of the game Among Us, but it's like you're constantly doing a task, and then you just get, you don't get hired again because you don't get tenured, or they fire you before you get tenured. It's like so much stress, and then you have to meet your task at the same time. And granted, you're getting paid for it, but I feel like there needs to be more attention to what the teachers need on a mental basis in order for them to function, because they're not even getting paid properly. At least you could do is check up on them mentally. So that's the number one issue that I have is with and that goes nationwide, not even just like
Lodi.
specifically Lodi.
Well, Jenny, what's your thoughts on that from your perspective?
Yeah, I agree. We need a mental health component, and not just for the teachers, but also for the students. A lot of students right now are mental health is a challenge for a lot of the students because of the pandemic. I mean, some of them are already dealing with anxiety, and the teachers as well. I'm not talking about just the students, but just overall. Some of us suffer from anxiety, some of us suffer from depression, and I think the pandemic has really made things harder, and it's a bigger challenge. So I do feel like there should be a mental health component. I did talk about that at my closing statement. I don't know if you guys watched the Q&A on Tuesday night.
No, we didn't.
A part of my closing statement did mention a mental health component for the kids. I don't know how that would look like, but I would, if they could have like 10 minutes a day where they could talk to the guidance counselor, have them have like a log of where the children could sign in and say, listen, I need to talk to someone for 10 minutes, and have that opportunity. And for the teachers too, they need, maybe we could offer like a workshop on self-care. I think that's important. Self-care is
That would
very
be
important.
powerful.
We all need to learn how to take care of ourselves in order to take care of others. And the teachers have such a big responsibility of taking care of the kids. So I do agree with Zain on that.
What you got on that?
No, I completely agree with, like, I don't know how Lodi works because I went to Hackensack, but definitely in Hackensack High School, what they had was called like the drop-in center. So basically, like the concept behind it was like you just literally just drop in if you need to find like a job, a part-time job, if you have like I forgot what it's called, but basically when you're like a junior senior, you basically completed most of your prerequisites in school. So you had like 2 periods which were basically free where you could like leave early and leave for work. So it kind of helped you with like job studies, finding a job, also counseling. They definitely had counseling, which I know I took advantage of. Because high school, like I was actually speaking to someone, it's just like when you're in high school, you just feel like the world is going to end. Like, oh my God, they're talking about me. Like, this too shall pass. Like, kids at that age don't realize, like, oh, what you're going through is only temporary. You're going to get over it. And then when you're an adult, you're just basically not going to care about it. But my high school, I was glad that it did have that. Like, they did have the counselors, but the drop-in center was a big help. A big help.
That's interesting. I don't think that does Lodi right now have anything like that.
If we have something like that right now, no, I don't think we. I mean, I don't quote me on that. I don't think we do, but I could find out. And that she makes a very good point. I also talked about having some kind of like life skills program course or for the juniors and seniors. I also talked about financial literacy courses for our juniors and seniors, and college readiness courses for our juniors and seniors, so like that they could get credit for college credit, either through Bergen Community College, and over right here we have our own university right here in Lodi, Felician. So I think we need to offer more programs for our students. And because when they leave high school, I don't feel like they're ready for the real world. There's so much that they don't realize that they need to do, from budgeting, saving money, all that stuff. So I think
No,
Paloma made a good point.
budgeting is definitely something because it's like I'm 31 and I'm still horrible at budgeting. Like
Yeah,
I'm gonna be
there's a
honest
lot
with
of
you.
us.
So it's
Yeah.
like
No, yeah, no, that's a whole other conversation of what they actually teach. But it's like I still want to touch upon something he said. That was still so powerful because it's so true that we don't, typically you don't hear about a lot of teachers getting any assistance with their mental health, and it's like how are they supposed to teach these kids and be there for these kids? Like they're there for so many different kids,
Hmm.
hundreds of kids throughout the day if
and then
they're not
each one of
okay.
them, yeah, and each of them has like probably like an issue, like probably like the period before you dealt with some kid that had like an outburst and you had to basically like kick him out of the class and everything like that. Like there are some people that don't handle that situation as like, all right, this happened, let me get over it, let me continue my day. There's some people that just dwell on it.
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
they're expected to go back to school or go back to that period that same time, and the kids be on the craziest disrespect
Mm-hmm.
possible. And then he was like, "All right, just write them up. Like you didn't even ask me how I was doing.
Hmm.
That's a major issue. You just
Yeah.
disregarded the person's like emotion, and they all right, get back to work. All right, write them up, get back to work, and that trickles down to these kids. So it starts from the leaders and it trickles down. So if teachers are being taught to be dismissive of their emotions, what exactly are teachers teaching their students?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's need a moment of silence for that one. Because that nah, it's that is so true. Like, or sometimes jumping to conclusions. With that too. Like a lot of different times, you could see a kid who is upset or who seems like they're going through things, and at least in the past, I've noticed a lot of times the system just makes them jump to conclusions. You know what I'm saying? Without actually really maybe even talking to the kid or trying to put them in a program to see what's going on. They just real quick maybe DIFUS. They don't even do a process. They don't even try to see if maybe they could help. You know what I'm saying? Where I think sometimes they could. So but definitely I think we need a mental health program or just a check in or something with the teachers. And sometimes even for the kids, like I know how you said about the guidance counselor. Something I just thought of right now of just talking to you is like we have usually typically what's crazy is that there's one guidance counselor for a whole entire school, which
No,
is
I believe they changed
they
that.
changed
There's
it
a
to
guidance counselor for every school now.
yeah, for one for every school, right?
For Lodi, I believe they changed that because there was just one. So now we have a
What?
guidance counselor for every school.
That's crazy.
But that's still crazy. That's what
That
that if
is
to
crazy.
think about it because you know sometimes we relate to different people and we don't relate to others, and
Mm-hmm.
even that guidance counselor may not be able to relate to a certain young kid. You know what I'm saying? So it's like
Yeah, and you can't treat every child like the same way. Like, oh, you're sad today. Well, here's a band-aid. You'll get over it, kind of thing. And then the other one is like you get more in depth with them. It's like you can't treat every child the same because
yeah.
Hmm.
every child processes everything differently. Like how I react to something isn't something that you're gonna react to. How Zayn is gonna react to. It's like everyone reacts to things differently. And if you approach every child with the same tactic, it's not gonna work.
Or even
Yeah, it
get
definitely has to be an individualized approach.
Mm-hmm.
or even having the child be able to feel comfortable talking with that person. Like I remember when I went to Lodi, we had one option per school or whatever. Like in middle school, is one guidance counselor, and it's like if you don't feel comfortable talking with that guidance counselor, it's not going to come out. Sometimes I remember in school, sometimes people would feel more comfortable talking with certain teachers, but that's not their job. Their
Mm-hmm.
job isn't to be a guidance counselor, but sometimes you felt more of a connection with that teacher versus that guidance
Hmm.
counselor, because it
Mm-hmm.
goes back to you not feeling comfortable talking with that person because maybe you feel like they can't relate to you or whatnot. Like you never know. It could go down to, your race, your background, could go down to any different reasons. And it's like if you only have one person for all these hundreds of kids, it's like I don't think things are really going to progress too much. You know?
Hmm.
What
You guys
about
make a good point. We need to make some changes in our schools, and as I mentioned before, the mental health component. Zane is on the he nailed it because I thought about the kids, but it's true, the teachers too. They need their time, they need their space be able to to take care of whatever issues they may be going through, mental health issues, and it needs to be addressed. So, it's a good thing, and that you're bringing that up. I'm glad we're having this conversation and having this dialogue, because, I could definitely go back and try to see what we could do for that. Not just for the children, but for the teachers too.
Yeah, because they're the ones that coach them, and
Mhm.
it's just different things to think about. That's just all. What we try to do is just try to dissect the things and just to try to see. Because teachers are humans too. At the end of the day, you know what I'm saying? They're
Mhm.
not superheroes at the end of the day, and it's like they have a lot on
Yes,
their
they are.
shoulders. No, you know what I'm saying? Like we're just all humans. You know. Um,
Yeah.
what about Paloma? What would you say maybe were some things that you would want to see? What type of changes, or what do you feel within the school system?
Well, I haven't been in that school system in a long ass time. So,
Yeah.
but I mean, when I was there, it's definitely, like definitely financial programs, like, something that actually teaches you for being in the real world, not something that's just like only college. Like, great,
Mm.
like, teachers give this whole aspect of like, oh, in college, like it's going to be like this and this. And it's like when you actually get to college, it's completely different. Like the
Mhm.
professors, they really don't care. If you don't do your work, they really don't care. Like it's all on you. Like it's
I
your
mean, you paid
responsibility.
for it, so
Yeah, you
you,
paid
you
for it.
paid
That's
to
your money.
fail.
You fail and you lost your money. That's not my problem. I'm getting paid. But I feel like in high school, like even for like juniors and seniors, it's like, okay, you're trying to prep them for college. And I know Bergen does offer, like college credits for some high school students and everything like that. But I believe that's if you're like I know in Hackensack, if you're like in AP classes, you get college credits.
Mm.
So the thing is, it's that I feel like they should offer classes where it's like, you know what? Here's how to budget. Here's how to fix your credit. Here's how to like invest, financing, anything that like helps you come up in the world,
Mm.
not put you more in debt.
Yeah. And you said that you believe that you guys are fighting for more like real life type of stuff.
Yeah, so I spoke about that at the Q&A. I do feel like there should be some type of social life skills courses, financial literacy, because there's so much that the children need. I mean, the kids need to be prepared for when they leave. I had spoken about um, learn money management, how to communicate effectively, how to think critically, interpersonal skills. A lot of the kids when they leave, they don't know how to interview. You're graduating from high school. You have to get a job. You have to learn how to communicate. You got to learn how to sell yourself and and
Yeah.
and and do interviews. Time management is a big thing. A lot of
Of
you
course.
know they things are going to be very different once you graduate from high school, right? Food shopping. I mean, they don't realize they're home all the time, right? So the parents are buying the food, but when they leave and they go to a dorm or whatever, they need to buy their own food and balance and do a budget and things like that. Even things like, let's say they have a car, simple thing as changing a tire, it's changing your oil. These things. Why not?
Do they
I
offer
wish
that
I
in
knew
Lodi?
that sooner.
I'm sorry.
Do they offer that in Lodi, like
No.
mechanics or anything like that?
No.
Oh, Hackensack does that. That's one thing I'm
Yeah,
like proud
that's
of.
another thing I never did. I mean, I love where I'm from, but I never liked about it was very limited options. And I get it, we're a small town, but it's like it was always super super limited. Um, as far as a lot of different things. To where like I would think, okay, maybe even if Lodi can't do it, why can't they collab with another town that does it? You know what I mean? Like kind of like Lodi and Hackensack's Boys and Girls Club,
Yeah.
something like that.
Hmm.
So some collaborations. Like I get you can't do it because it's a small town, so maybe you can't have like hockey, but why maybe you can't partner with something else maybe that will, and vice versa.
I think we collaborate with Saddlebrook for the track because I signed up for my daughter. She
Mm.
wants to run track. Her father's very fast and she has the same legs and she wants to run just as fast as he does. So we were looking for track and we didn't have it. And then I found out that we do collaborate with Saddlebrook, and I think
Mm.
we collaborate with Saddlebrook for another sport. I don't remember what it was,
Mm.
but that's it's a good idea to continue to do that with other towns as well. That would be good
Yeah.
because we do need more sports, I believe. Um, but yeah, that's a good idea.
And it would teach these kids to that we're stronger together versus back in the day it was always rivals. It was always like Garfield versus Lodi, or like
Hackensack versus Teaneck.
yeah. So it's like, why can't we all just come together and be families? You know what I'm saying? Like, so I think that would just be something to grab a little bit more unity.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's going to benefit the children. That's the key thing here, and this is why I'm running for the Board of Education. Our children's future, their success. That's my main focus, is to make sure that, you know, they deserve better. At the end of the day, and that's why I'm running. One of the reasons why I'm running, and if we could all collaborate, work together, it's for them. It's not for us. And the issue right now that we're having is that there's a lot of politics going around, a lot of politics in our school system. This should not be politics in our school system. We need to separate that and focus on the children. This is all for them at the end of the day.
And I definitely see how you are already making changes before you're even on the Board of Ed. You know what I'm saying? Because I've noticed just by being connected with you on Facebook and through the groups and stuff that you always do a real good job of spreading the information out there beyond just, because what I noticed is that you're right. It's been like that for a very, very long time in this town. And a lot of towns, it's like that too, but because unfortunately, it's like a small group of people who are very, very engaged in what's going on. But I've noticed that you are a big help in spreading it out of that group, like spreading the message to where many people know about it in the town, and I really think that's good and that's powerful, because a lot of times I feel like the issues is, like I always say, out of sight, out of mind. If you don't see what's going on in the town, if you don't see the issues, or if you don't see the Q&A meetings, if you don't see that type of stuff, how are you going to know what's even happening? So I think something that you do is really good is that I see you share it still on your main page. You don't just share it in a group. Like you'll share it all out different ways, because you want to get the message out. It's not just like a personal thing or to go against a competition. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. I started sharing the information for the Board of Ed meetings because a lot of people. I'm on these pages in Lodi. We have the page 1, 2, and 3, and all these pages, right? I read people always complaining about things. They're complaining and they have so much to say, but when there's a Board of Education meeting, there's not one question, not one comment, but yet you're on Facebook and you have all these complaints. So I didn't know if it's because they didn't know when the Board of Education meetings were. So I started, like you said, way before I decided to run for the Board of Education, decided to start posting it out and sharing this information, letting people know, okay, we have a Board of Ed meeting tomorrow at this time, be there. Here's the link where you could go in and post a comment or question. Like people, I just feel like people need to be informed. So I'm going to continue to do that. Even if I don't get elected, that's fine. I will continue to inform the people. That's just,
That's powerful. Yeah, keep that up, because if people don't know, like, and I get it. I see these Board of Ed meetings sometimes too. Sometimes I catch it, sometimes I don't. And if people don't know what's going on, like, because I think a lot of times the issue is when people are running or things, they're trying to make changes within the town. Like I said, they're not reaching, like, quote unquote, the people. They're reaching the people that are already paying attention. They're not reaching the real people that just honestly like have jobs and life and kids, and sometimes you don't have time to be on Facebook in a group every 5 seconds looking at what's going on in the town.
Right.
You just don't. You have so many things going on, so you have to, not you, I'm just saying, like, I think we as a community need to do better at saying, hey, we're trying to do this over here. So they could see in different creative ways, different flyers, maybe different events, like do like just different creative things that will get people to pay attention and to get people into that world of a possibility of a change.
Yeah, I agree. But James Cicillo, is it? Yes, James Cicillo. He is the vice president for the Lodi Chamber of Commerce. Okay, he created a page in one of the on Facebook, and it's about community service, how to find out information, how to volunteer in the community. So he created this page, and I'll go ahead and share it later on tonight if I need to. But he's trying, we're trying to get the message out there that we need to unite as a community. We need to do more for each other. We need to collaborate and communicate. And I believe that, I think it's called the CAN initiative, CAN. So look it up and go on there, and there's volunteer opportunities. So we're trying to get the message out there.
Yeah, no, you definitely are. I see it, and keep it going. Anything, Zain, because yourself that you wanted to, because you were actually in the system, and
I mean, technically, I still am in the system, but I taught in Hackensack, Passaic, Hackensack and Passaic, and I've noticed that most of the administration, they push their accountability on teachers, and that plays a major factor on how the performance is. In terms of the community, I noticed from teachers' point of view that, like, the parents, they're not involved because they're too busy working, or some of them they don't have like the fire under their ass to actually make a movement and be involved. They figured the parents are like the second parents. The teachers are the second parents, and they just make them do all the work. It was funny because the whole quarantine was more so making parents realize that you're gonna raise your kid, and you're gonna see how difficult it was. So I know for a fact when kids are fully in school and whatnot, I promise you there's going to be a major difference. Just because of what they had to deal with. Oh, my kid never does that. Wait.
Now you really seeing what your kid does.
Now you really seeing what your kid does. So it was like a big wake-up call for the education community, and seeing that there's a lot of flaws in the system. Now people are saying, like, wait, so is school relevant now? Like physically being there? Is that old age now? Are we gonna be moving toward where you could just stay home and teaching will be separate? Is that gonna change how we've molded our structure? There's a lot of things going on right now. Some people don't even think we're gonna be going back to school anytime soon. So I think this is a great way to kind of have the community come together, teachers, parents, and students collectively, like 3 parties, sit in a room and talk about, like, have a representative for the students, have a representative for the teachers, and have a representative for the parents, all kind of say their piece in the room together, talking about what's the needs that are met. Because there's a lot of, oh yeah, I think they'll like that. Just throw that in there. They'll like it. And if they don't, they just gonna have to deal with it. And there's a lot of that going on in education community, and it's like a game of telephone at this point, and people don't even know what to do, and students don't even care, because honestly, why should they care? All the information is on their phones, everything's on the internet. Like, why? Essentially, we're just occupying their time because the parents are working. That's what it comes down to. So, like, how can we motivate them to actually want to learn something that's not in on the internet? What are we doing to kind of incite their creativity? That's what we need to work on.
Yeah, I like that. Mm-hmm. Jenny, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, so Zain brought up a good point about getting people together and talking about the issues and things like that. One of the questions that I got from the Lodi Education Association was, what is one idea you have for enhancing teacher morale? And I put here, besides yearly bonuses and incentives, like,
pizza parties.
Pay them more. That's how you increase morale, right?
Like,
but one of the things I put here,
pizza parties.
Yeah, pizza parties. That works.
Pizza parties. That worked in elementary school. Like, oh, you behave, you get this pizza party.
Yep, that solves everything, actually.
Hold on, sidebar. So non-related. Favorite pizza in Lodi?
Say it again.
Favorite pizza in Lodi?
Angel. Favorite pizza in Lodi? Oh, hands down, Napoli's. Napole's.
Really?
I always say it wrong. Napoli, Connie, I'm sorry. I am so sorry, Connie, but Napoli's or Napoli's. I get it wrong each time, but I know I love this pizza and I love her, and it is what it is. So that's what it is.
Okay, all right. Do you have a favorite in Lodi?
Who, me?
Yeah.
No, I'm not gonna. Yeah, I think if anything, I would say Lodi Pizza.
Lodi Pizza.
By the high school.
Okay, that's a.
I can't even have pizza anyway, so it's.
So you're kind of out of it.
Yeah, I'm out of
Sorry,
it. Yeah.
it's lactose.
Yeah, I'm saying Lodi
And
Pizza.
unfortunately, you're not a Lodi-ian.
No, I'm a Hackensack one.
I'm gonna go with Curione's. That's my number one. But Napoli I like too, but Curione's is definitely number one for me. So just we had to get that out the way because that was like serious, you know. 'Cause it's a serious question. And then Scardino's is there too. Scardino's like right after. Hey, what's up? We got a guest. So okay, one of the things that I was thinking about before too, and I would love to get your input on, is, you know, are you familiar with like personality testing?
Personality testing.
Yeah, have you ever like heard of something like that?
Facebook has these silly games
Yeah.
or whatever.
Okay,
But
no,
no.
but what I mean is like I feel right. We all learn very different. Okay,
Mhm.
so like me, I'm a better when I listen to things and when I watch things.
Visual and audio.
So you're a visual
to learn.
person.
Video, what is you say?
Video is visual and auditory learning.
Okay, and I think that there's so many different types of learning, and also even how you learn, your speed and all that type of stuff. And I just feel like schools, I think it would be a big help if schools actually tested, you know, what's easier for some of these kids. Are they a better visual person? Are they a better through audio and whatnot? Because I always know they do testings to see if they have, you know, ADD or special ed or whatever, right?
That actually wouldn't be a bad idea. And you could just not say like, I know it'd be expensive to do that, but it'd be better to identify what kind of personality type the child has and then just separate each class as such. So that way the child learns that way.
That's
not a
that's
bad
what I'm
idea.
saying. Like, or even maybe even not a whole, because, you know, it gets expensive when you start breaking that all that down, but just a method, like, because
I mean, that's where tax paying goes to.
yeah.
Let's be real here. Like,
I mean, they're not using our tax money for what they're supposed to, though.
Exactly. So in reality, the money is there. We need to just allocate it and take away in certain places. So put it towards the education mostly. If you have more funding towards education, I promise you the environment is gonna change.
Yeah, like, what if I'm literally, like, my DNA and who I am not a good test taker. I am not a good test taker at all, but I am amazing at doing it.
Hands-on.
Hands-on, I'm amazing at doing it, but I'm not a good test taker. Like, I feel like as we've gotten to this year of 2020, how can't we be able to test the student in multiple different ways depending on that student versus giving them all tests? And they may all fail, or X amount of them fail, but they didn't really fail because they didn't know it. They failed just because that's just not who they,
Yeah, because there are certain
really
students
are.
that just
Does that make any sense
nervous
to you?
with
Like,
testing.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
There are kids that is like they do academically, they do amazing, but when it comes to tests, it's like
Yeah, SAT, I froze. I don't know what that. I definitely didn't do well on the SATs, hands down. But honestly, I knew where I was going, and I knew the plan. I was gonna go to Bergen and transfer to go to Montclair. Like that was the plan because I didn't know what I was gonna do straight out of high school. So so Bergen gave me some time to think about it. But essay, like any type of test, I think taking tests in college was easier than it was taking tests in high school. I feel like I had a harder time like high school prior than I did in college. It's because of the stress that they put you in. Like, oh, you're going to get left back. You can't get left back in college. You just failed the class. That's it. You know what I'm saying?
and you got to pay again to take
You
it
just
over.
got to pay again. That was it. But it's like you had that pressure of not being with your friends if you got left back. That was the issue. It was like that whole, like, yeah, you didn't do well at the testing. There's so much pressure with the testing. You need to get an A. And then everybody comparing their grades. And then obviously you have to deal with the bullying. Oh, you're an idiot. You got a 78. Ah, you're a dummy. Like, those are the things that you deal with. And if you remove that, then now you're just trying to learn. You know what I'm saying? You're not worrying about competition. Now I just want to learn. And I think if you remove it, when you add grading into the play, that's where the competition. Imagine kids were able to not know their grade. Like, what if they just didn't know their grade, and then they were just like their performance, and they're just in class just learning. Granted, there's grades being taken, but the students don't know. How do you think that classroom would be?
I guess the kids would take it more easily. They would take it more easily. They wouldn't be under this constraint of like, oh my God, I have to pass this test. Oh my God, I'm going to get an A.
Yep.
So it's like, it's also, I guess they have like this pressure of like, oh, I have to do this under a certain constraint. Like I have to do this at a certain time kind of thing.
Yeah. And I mean, when we were growing up, we didn't have tests like in our own households. Imagine that. Imagine if there was grading in our households. Oh, Johnny, you got an F for washing your dishes. Oh, blah, blah. Like, we grew up without that. So we grew up fine. So now we introduced that in school. And then now, like, if you remove that, I think we'll be just fine is what I'm saying.
Jenny, what's your take on that, on, individual learning or learning for your type of learning? Like, do you think that's a thing? What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, well, I think that kind of falls on the teachers to kind of look at the get to know the child, right? We have the teachers get to see these personalities and get to teach the child in a way where they could learn. Like, for example, with my son, again, he had an IEP, diagnosed with ADHD, and he had an IEP, so he was a visual learner. He didn't want to deal with a book. He didn't want to look at a book. He didn't want to read. But if you gave him, pictures, or if you verbally gave him directions, he was able to, process it and do his testing. He needed extra time for testing too. I think with the constraints with testing is like it has to be done within 30 minutes. No, he couldn't do it in 30 minutes. He needed 45 minutes. He needed an hour. So it does. I feel like it falls on the teachers to learn, to get to know the child, and do individualized teaching. But at the same time, the question is, do they have time for that? There's so much that they have to teach the child. They have this curriculum that they need to teach the child in this one day, in this 1 week, in this 1 month. Do they have the time to really individualize? But they, at the same time, they have to look at who's struggling, who's not learning, who's not picking up. And then, there's a thing called a child find, where you identify a child who's struggling, and then maybe we could offer a 504 plan for them, or offer an IEP. But it's up to the teacher to really to notice this and to help the child. And
yeah, because it's like almost like, I think all of our lives, it's always been like a one size fits all type of mentality. And the only time you get a different option is if you have a quote unquote special needs issue, or whatever the case is. Not even an issue. It's just if you don't have that, it's a one size fits all. Mm-hmm. And I just feel like we're so diverse as humans that it doesn't work like that. And I get it. You're right. We don't have the time. They're not paid enough. But it's like, at the end of the day, we have to maybe create someone else to do that, or maybe another teacher's aide or something. Just some type of...
definitely a teacher's aide to help with that. But I even feel like with that, like trying to identify, like, like you were saying, like the child's needs and everything like that. It's also like, I know it'd be more work for the teachers, but I feel like they should also take into like child psychology, like learn more about that, because every child develops differently. And how are you gonna like assess this situation? You can't treat it, like I was saying before, you can't treat it the same, like the one size fits all. You can't treat it the same. And even if they have like at least a teacher's aide, someone to help them, that kind of, I feel like, could make it easier in that situation. Like, because teachers, they are by themselves, they're not getting paid enough. And then some of them, since they're not getting paid enough, they don't care as much. Mm-hmm. They don't care to do it, to do that extra effort.
Or they physically can't, because it's not easy, Mm-hmm. I also wanted to ask you about do you know of any, and if there is any in Lodi, any really assistance with after school programs, what options we have for after school? Because I know, I have a 12-year-old stepdaughter, and when she was living with me here in Lodi, Boys and Girls Club was really the only option from my understanding. and it was a little tough. It was a little pricey, honestly.
I used to work for them.
Yeah, no,
it ain't a little, it's a lot of.
Yeah, no, I was giving. If anyone listens, I'm just giving them. I guess I was underplaying.
And you
got to
pay for the bus too.
Well, that's another issue, the bus. So my question is there anything going on, or is there right now? Because I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Any assistance with that? Because I feel like that's a major play in people's lives. Like that was a serious issue for me and my ex, to where it was a question mark if she should even work, because we almost couldn't even afford child after school care and even before care. So it got to a point like it was really affecting, like our life. Like it almost was. I could see why you always hear people say, "Oh, well, the parent's not working," or this and that. Honestly, sometimes it just didn't even make sense because these programs are so expensive. So is there anything like that right now, or what can you say about that?
Yeah, there is actually. So it's called the LEAP program, LEAP. It stands for Lodi Enrichment After School Program. But it's only for the middle schoolers, so the TJMS. And it's a 5-year grant that the Boys and Girls Club received, and where the Board of Education and the girls Boys and Girls Club are working together. They received this 5-year grant, and it just started last year, I believe. So we have 4 years left, and we're hoping, and that's one of the things I talked about during the Q&A, is that I would love to see that in the elementary schools. So it's doing very well. So we're hoping that we see that again, another 5 years. And yeah, we had the Boys and Girls Club, and yes, it's expensive. I love the Boys and Girls Club. Kudos to Joe Licata and Mike Hosier. I love them so much. They've done so much for my children. It is expensive. Let me tell you, because I'm not going to tell you how much I get paid, but I don't get paid. I work at a school too. I'm a disability specialist for a Head Start program. I work for a school, and I know we don't get paid anything, but there's an agency called Office for Children in Bergen County, and they have helped me and other parents who are low-income families. I'm part of the low-income family bracket, and I've gotten a lot of help, and I have been able to afford it. So I would suggest parents to look into that. Again, Office for Children, or in Hackensack, by the county
courthouse.
executive office.
Yeah, it's
and
one county plaza.
And there's funding right now. There's a lot of funding. I'm going to share this, actually, since we're talking about it. I'm taking notes about everything that we're talking about, and I'm going to share this later. But there's the Boys and Girls Club actually is posting stuff about other grants that are being offered to low-income families or families who are struggling to pay for after school. So I'll share that information as well.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
Oh, I wanted to mention Office for Children. You have to be working though, at least 30 hours.
Or going to school.
Yeah, or going to school in order to qualify.
Okay. And that's good that you said that the Boys and Girls Club's doing good things. That's good, because I have not been around there in a while. I know back when, just from my experience, my little one, she wasn't too crazy about it, around the energy of the kids that were there. And even when I went there as a kid, it was kind of like a free-for-all. It was kind of kids aiding other kids, so hopefully now they made some good positive changes in that, because it was just... They
have tremendous change. They've done a great job.
That's great. I'm glad to hear. What about is there any programs in Lodi that do before school care? I know there's like the daycare, like Little Tykes and places like that, but is there any way that we'll do it like a Boys and Girls Club style?
I believe they're offering, the Boys and Girls Club is offering before school care, and the LEAP program, I'm not too sure about the LEAP program. I think the LEAP program is definitely after school, but that's all we have. And I agree that we need more of that. We need more of that, and it has to be affordable for everyone. So that's something to look into, definitely.
Yeah, maybe even something in the school. Like what I actually love is that right now the school system that my stepdaughter's in, it's in upstate New York, but it's really cool because they have breakfast really early. They have like a half hour before that. It's actually like a half hour or like 45 minutes. Now they could just show up early and they could do the breakfast and kind of hang out in the lunchroom. I don't know really what they do. They just whatever. They have a place at least for them. You can get there and drop them off early enough. But I remember from experiences over here in Lodi, there was never really that option. Like you had, school started at 8:05 and you had to be there at 8:05.
Yeah, they have the they have the breakfast. They have the breakfast option. If you have to pay for that, it's not much. But they do have the option of dropping off the kids early, have breakfast. So they have that. But I think it's a certain, I don't know, like I think 7:30, 7:45. I don't remember the time, but yeah.
Doesn't the Boys and Girls Club offer that? I know in the summer they were doing that, but are they doing it for the school year as well?
Yeah, for the school year they are.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I know the Lodi Hackensack one, the one in Hackensack, where my mom lives. They
have that. That's
good. They have that. They also have like the virtual learning, like the after school program still available to them.
They follow the same thing.
Yeah, because that stuff is super, super important. Like it's, little things like that, like after school programs. It's like how are you gonna work if you can't get some help with that? It's like, people sometimes don't realize that. Like people have to work, but they also need sometimes someone to help, watch the kids. And it's like, then you wonder why some people don't work, because sometimes, it's too expensive to have your kid taken care of after school or before school, Yeah,
even daycare. Like my son is 3, and daycare for me to put him in full time, it's $264 a week. Like that's ridiculous. I don't have that kind of money.
Yeah. What's the youngest that you could start school in Lodi?
The youngest, I believe we have a pre-K. Do
you have a pre-K 3 or?
Yeah, we have a pre-K program. So 4 years old, or 3. I'm not sure. I could get back to you on that one.
Yeah, I'm curious if there's a pre-K 3, because a lot of times people don't know about those. Sometimes I know Garfield offers it. Pre-K 3 is really good. A lot of times people don't, it's really, really valuable. And I feel like a lot of times people don't know. They just assume they have to wait for regular pre-K.
I believe we do. I have to look into that. I'll confirm that.
Okay. Zain, what you got?
What happened?
You got anything?
About what?
Anything.
It's like a teacher calling out the student.
Yes. Calling out the student.
What? I gotta go to the bathroom. What you call it? That's pretty much it. I mean, it's really you just gotta put into action. There's a lot of people that always have they have a lot to say and they want to make things happen, but you gotta actually make the effort. There has to be more action than words. And I think a lot of people, if they see that, then they'll take that as an example and start changing their community when they actually start seeing physical actions. That's about it.
Yeah, that's definitely right. Anything else that you feel like that you want to implement in anything that you're going to be fighting for, with everything that's going on? Any other things you got?
I mean, there's just a lot of work ahead of us, for our district. We've come a long way, but there's just so much. And like I mentioned before, there's conflict right now, so that needs to be resolved in order for us to get on the track that we want to be on. And I believe that we are destined for greatness. I believe that we have the potential to be great and do better for our children. So there are some things that needs to change. I have a question for you guys. Have you guys voted? Are you all registered to vote? Are you going to vote?
I already mailed mine.
I'm registered.
Mine is already mailed in. That was sent out. Oof.
Okay, awesome.
Yep.
What about yourself?
Yep.
All right.
Yeah, I'm registered. I actually would want to do it in person. I haven't received anything in the mail yet, but I would like to do it in person.
Really? Okay, so the thing about doing it in person is you're going to get a provisional ballot. So, once you do it, they're going to have to verify that you're registered and then you could vote. I'm not saying it's not that you can't do that. I'm just saying that there's just so much going on with these mail-in ballots. I don't know if you've been reading my Facebook post, but TNEC, they mailed out 7,000 incorrect ballots to residents. 7,000.
That must have been some new CCA.
In Paramus, there was ballots all over the floor behind a dumpster. There's so much going on right now with these ballots. So the best thing that you could do, in my opinion, is to fill out the ballot. Once you get in the mail, fill it out and drop it off at a secure box. There's, I believe, 18 or 19 boxes in Bergen County. The closest one to us is right here in Hasbrook Heights. And again, I posted this in my Facebook page. I'll post it again tonight. But it's secured. It's guaranteed to get to the people. If you go in and do and vote in person, again, it's gonna be provisional. They're gonna have to check. Who knows if it's gonna get lost? If they're gonna verify it, you don't want to take that.
I can't trust any of these things. It's crazy. Can you post that in the therapy group? I think you're part of our therapy group as well. I think the Facebook group. So if you can post it in there, that'd be great.
Yeah, definitely.
Anyone living in Hackensack, I know for the mail-in ballots, you just take it to the one county plaza, like the same place where Office for Children is, where you can get your passport, everything like that. They have it there.
That's one of the boxes that I was talking about. They have one there. But if you want to go all the way to Hackensack, you could go right there to Hasbrook Heights. But I'll definitely post it.
I don't understand why we can't just do the shit online.
I mean, look what happened with 2016. Not trying to get into politics, but
Surprise.
I mean, I just don't get why we can't just do it online.
It's not secure.
In 2020, right?
Right.
Everything is insecure.
I mean, basically, like
you know what's crazy too? I'm just gonna say this. We're not gonna get into this. They already listen to us and throw all our sponsored ads on the phones. They already know who we want. I should be able to just tell it to my phone right now.
They don't care.
Because if I say I'm going to go to Target in 20 minutes,
they're going to pop up an ad with Target.
No, my phone's going to have Target. Thanks a lot, Joe.
Let me go on Instagram right now. Hold on.
See, I'm just saying.
Let me see what ad I'm going to get.
So it's like they know. But, nah, for real, y'all. And I think that was really good how we especially talked about the mental health and everything with that, with the teachers and the kids, and definitely a powerful conversation because, it's just these kids are going through so much, with the bullying. Any take on that, on how, any change on social media bullying, and that type, like obviously, it's a lot of just mental health resources, like we said, people for them to talk to and things like that. But do you have anything specifically too, that you would want to maybe see change within like bullying and things?
Yeah, I think Lodi has a really good zero policy on bullying, and they do address all kinds of whatever case may come up. I think they have a really good system for that. They address it, and it's, I don't have anything more to add to that, because I believe Lodi's doing what they're supposed to be doing. In terms of internet bullying, I mean, parents just need to be more aware of who the kids are talking to, and they need to be more diligent in checking to see what sites the kids are on, who they're communicating with. I check my daughter's phone all the time. I mean, she doesn't have an active phone where it has a phone number and people calling her. She just has it. She has kids FB Messenger. That's the most that she has, and she'll play like Minecraft on it or whatever. But even that I'm checking just to make sure, because you never know. But I think parents need to be more diligent, and checking in with, because kids won't say what's going on. So just for parents to check in with the kids and making sure they're okay, and allowing them to go into a safe space to talk about if they're scared, if they're being bullied. So it's up to the parents to really check on that.
Yeah, but I also do think there should be something in the school as well, at least a little bit more on that, because I do feel that the schools always usually say, they talk about it a lot, they do a lot of bullying stuff, but it always happens when a teacher leaves the room. It always happens when the teacher's not looking and stuff like that. So it's like, I do feel like they still should have some awareness on it, because like I said, the parents obviously they do what they can, but I still feel like it happens still heavy in all these schools, that it's just like it's still,
I mean, I don't think that's really gonna change. I feel like that's just the nature of the beast,
Yeah.
because even it's just like, again, is that these kids are in this mentality when they're going through, you know, puberty, through their adolescence, that they just feel like, oh my God, because I was bullied growing up. But, you know, for me, it was like, I guess, like, I have tough skin. Like, I was just like, all right, whatever. Like, you could say what you want. Like, I cried about it, went through my depression, but I still got over it. And I just feel like now, like, kids, like, it could also go back to, like, you know, not having someone to speak to, like a guidance counselor. Like, I had people to talk to. Like, and there were also other programs that were separate from, like, let's say, from the middle school. Like, they had the guidance counselors, but then there was also, like, a program that I used to go to that was somewhat affiliated with the middle school. And it's like I was able to speak with someone, able to, you know, like, say, like, oh, this is what's bothering me. And it's like I feel like now, like, the kids don't really have that kind of outlet because they are diminishing funding with schools and everything like that. So it's like some teachers are like, I'm not getting paid enough for this shit, so I really don't want to deal with this.
Yeah.
You know, to be honest.
But still, sometimes it's such an issue. Like me, you know, I was bullied very bad in right here in TJMS, and as a kid, and they had all these programs and bullying stuff and all these things. But guess what? I still was bullied every single day, and my grades were affected by it, and depression happened and all that type of stuff. But you know, the schools were doing all the things that they thought they were doing right. You know, like they never knew. So I'm just saying, I think they always should just step it up just a little bit, because you never really know, you know, what's going on unless you have a lot of eyes watching and stuff like that, you know, and a lot of people that people can feel comfortable talking with, you know. So.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's kind of hard for the teacher if she doesn't see it, and you know, she's walking out the classroom and it's happening. How is she supposed to address it? You know, it's really teaching the child how to advocate for themselves, how to speak up. You know, how to, you know, like Paloma said, to have someone that they could, you know, talk to, a guidance counselor or someone else. But it's really teaching the child to stand up for themselves, what to say to a bully, you know. So more programs for that for them.
I feel like that's like it's such a double-edged sword sometimes too. It's just like sometimes the kid will speak up for themselves and then they get into a fight, and then a lot of schools now are having like this whole zero tolerance. Like, say for example, I were to punch Joe. Joe didn't do anything, but he's still going to get suspended. It's like he didn't do anything. He's the victim in the situation. It's like I don't feel like that really helps handle the situation where it's like, you know, we're going to hold you both accountable for this. Cuz it's like saying to the victim, well, you shouldn't have been there. You shouldn't have stood in front of his fist. Like, you should have moved out the way. Like, you should have, like, that doesn't make sense to me. Like, how is the victim also at fault for being bullied?
Yeah.
Like, even if they did try to stand up for themselves, you know?
Yeah, I think that's why it just goes down to, unfortunately, teachers cannot do it all by themselves.
Yeah.
But we need more people around. Like you said, there obviously is a time when the teacher's going to walk out the room, but there still has to be somebody there, because these are still children at the same time. You know what I'm saying? And there's like 30 of them and maybe 1 or 2 children. You know what I'm saying? It still maybe needs to be more. And unfortunately, that's, you know, I mean, I think what we need, because these are kids, you know, there's always going to be times where the teacher's not going to see certain things and stuff like that. And yeah, we want to make sure the kids speak up and say things and all that. So that it all sounds nice when we're adults, but sometimes these kids don't have the mental capacity. Their brain is still developing, you know, they're still growing. They're not adults. So they can't process that. Like now, if me and you go through something, me and you could talk about it, and I can go tell somebody how I feel. When you're a child and you're 12 or 10 and 8 or 7, that doesn't happen that easy. You know what I'm saying? So it's like maybe just limiting the opportunities for these things to happen. If we, you know, like if we can, you know, or having people there as like almost coaches to where it happens, they can coach them through the bullying versus you know, just like you said, just suspending both parties.
Yeah.
And there's no coaching involved, or there's no trying to get the bullies to become friends. Like, you know, there's so much more to that. Like if back in the day when I was bullied, or it got to a fight, you're saying that you get suspended, and then guess what? You got to still live with that person every single day in your school for the rest of the school year. Maybe if a program came in and said, hey, you and John, you guys, what's going on? We're gonna talk this out. We're gonna go through the problem. We're like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but you know, that also goes back to is that, you know, goes back to money.
Of course.
And then also people feeling like, oh, well, this is like, I'm just wasting my time right now. Like, I don't have enough time for this. I have other things to handle. Like, it always comes down to it where it's like some people just don't want to take the time to do it.
Yeah.
You know, because
No.
I could bet money. Like with my son, he's 3 right now, but if he gets bullied, I'm gonna tell him like, you give him a 3 strike warning. You tell him the first 2 times, they didn't listen. Third time, bop 'em.
Pop.
That's it.
He goes no.
That's it.
And that's what they always say. That's what we always say as as parents and stuff like that. But it's like it's crazy because sometimes it shouldn't even come down to that. Like they shouldn't even get to those 3 strikes. You know what I'm saying? But unfortunately, because of you know the system and everything and like that, it can get like that because there's no one to stop those many things from happening. They're happening without people even realizing it all the time. No matter how many times they could say, no bullying or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it also falls on the parents too, because I have an old coworker who I used to work with. Like she lives now in Philly, and the school district that she's in now, it's kind of ghetto. And her kid, even though she's Puerto Rican, but you see her kids, you think they're white because they're light skinned, they have blonde hair, light color eyes, everything like that. And her son was being bullied by like other kids, and they were hitting him. And then she basically had to step in, and she's like, "Listen, you're gonna handle this because my son is being bullied." The following week, same thing happened. Her son came home with a black eye, and she hauled her ass to the school, and she's like, "No, now you're gonna get to fucking know me right now. Like these kids are hitting my child. This is gonna be a fucking problem. I need you to call their parents. We need to handle this." So it's like it's also some parents just like I don't know if kids don't speak about it or they do speak about it to their parents, but parents don't really get involved either. I'm not saying all of them, but
Yeah,
some of them don't get involved in the
definitely
situation.
It definitely goes both sides. Um, Zane, did you ever have any experience like with that in school, middle school, high school? Did any teachers ever help you out in a system like that if you were bullied or you saw someone get bullied?
Usually if I, yeah, nah, not really, because my mom gave me the rule, which I had to take care of myself, was if a student hits you and you don't hit back, I'm gonna hit you. So that means I didn't put myself in situations where I was gonna get hit, but I did. But there was verbal bullying, and that usually just stopped that instant the moment I went home, because I didn't have like siblings. So I would say something at home. I was like, "What's wrong?" Because I'd be quiet, and I tell her. Next day, taken care of. Doesn't even happen again. And she would set that school ablaze. And I used to go to Washington school. But the principal was cool, so the moment he heard it, he took care of it. It wasn't like a lingering thing. He's like, and no one wanted to piss him off. And I had Mr. Carafa. He ain't playing no games.
Shout out to Mr. Carafa.
Shout out to Mr. Carafa.
But Jenny, anything else you got? Anything you want to drop for our listeners?
I mean, again, November 3rd, get out and vote. Vote, vote, vote. Okay, this is a big presidential election as well. We got to get everyone out there to vote. And then for the Lodi Board of Education, like I said, my running mates are John Canizaro. He's been he's lived in Lodi his whole life. Actually, he's 73 years old, so he's been here since he was born. And he was a music teacher. And then Sharon Salvation, she's been here for I believe 43 years, and she's done a lot for the community as well. Again, we're on the third page, all the way at the bottom, column 4, 5, and 6. So this is for the Progress Not Politics ticket. So please vote for us, support us. And I just want to say something really quick. I feel like I don't know if you saw the Q&A. I don't if you did or did not, but I feel like I need to redeem myself, because there was a question that was asked, and it was about something to do with how much have you been involved in activities in Lodi? And I was like, oh, my son did basketball, my daughter did this, and yeah, I'm a Girl Scout leader. But oh my God, we've done so much as a Girl Scout leader, and my girls, I love them dearly. So this is for Lodi Troop 97052. I just want to say how much my girls have done for the community. I'm just going to give you a quick little, this is just for 1 year. Okay. This is 1 year. This is what we've done so far. We were able to do Valentine's Day cards for our veterans here in Lodi. We planted trees by the municipal building and painted a mural. I don't know if you guys saw, there was a mural at Memorial Park. We did that. For Martin Luther King Day, we packed weekend snack packages, and we donated hygiene items to the schools when they had those drives. We also participated in the 9/11 ceremony with the county executive, Jim Tedesco. We donated toys to the PBA drive when they had it for the schools. We painted rainbow rocks and we put them by the municipal building. And we donated a considerable amount of money to Jeffrey Lavender. I believe you know him.
Yeah, I know
He's just
Jeff. Yep.
yep.
Doing
He
powerful things. Shout out to
opened up
Jeff.
the American Eagle Food Pantry. We also made thank you cards for our home for our healthcare workers, and we donated 100 hot meals to Holy Name Hospital during the pandemic. And we also made 330 peanut butter and jelly sandwiches to feed the kids. So,
That's powerful.
we've done a lot. We've done a lot of activities. I'm a very active leader, very active in community service, in active in doing other activities where I'm helping the girls, find, be able to speak for themselves and be proud of being a girl. And I just wanted to say that I want to just, thank them for doing that and being so active in the community.
Of course, yo, and thank you for doing all that. And you've been out here working. You shouldn't even have to like validate. Like you doing mad shit out here. You know what I'm saying? You're doing a lot of things, doing a lot of moves, positive vibes, and you're here for positive change. So you shouldn't even have to do all that.
No. It's for the. I felt like I needed to say that for the girls, because it's like they worked so hard, and I wanted them to get
their recognition.
Recognition for that because they deserve it. They work so hard. The good girls, I love them, and so shout out to Troop 97052.
All right, well, shout out to them. That's powerful. Hopefully we can collab on some things too. I work with Jeff every once in a while. We got me and him have something little planned coming up. Also, if anyone likes his logo, Jersey Media, that's my dude. I did his logo. So if anyone needs a logo done, but yeah, no. Other than that, that was it. We do have something we do at the end of our show. We'll probably go first. Just have you shout out something that you think is cool, something that you think is dope, something that you think is slept on, a TV show that, nobody's watching, but you're watching and you think it's amazing, anything. So, of course, we're going to go with Zain first.
My recommendation is The Boys on Amazon. That show's amazing. Same guy who brought you Supernatural. He's the main showrunner for The Boys. It's pretty much superheroes in
it's Justice League basically, but they were evil. They were evil.
More so what the reality of superheroes, not like the goody two shoes superheroes that they painted. Yeah, the real world superheroes.
Superman is a sociopath.
Yeah, Superman would be a sociopath, aka Homelander. And then they have the main characters are trying to take them out and expose them. First expose them, but they're trying to take them out, which is awesome. But they have very good reason to, because the superheroes aren't being accountable for their actions. They turn superheroes into
it's like
a
the Sokovia Accords.
Yeah, pretty much.
Paloma, what you got?
Well, I want to shout out to Vision. Michelle put me onto him. I mean, she told me about him like a couple weeks back, and every Tuesday at his house, he has creative shoots. So the shoot that we had on Tuesday was kind of like a sexy thing. So button down, like long socks kind of thing. So I was being pushed out of my comfort zone as a photographer to take pictures different ways. So every Tuesday he has his creative shots. And this Tuesday, I believe they're doing a boxing theme. And then we're also working on ideas to come up, for future shoots and everything like that. And how I shouted him out earlier, he taught me some new tricks in Lightroom. So I'm going to have more fire pics.
Hey, shout out to you guys. Let's go. Jenny, what you got?
Like I mentioned before, I gave a huge shout out to my Girl Scouts. I think they deserve the shout out and the recognition. And, again, Troop 97052. I love these girls.
Okay. I have two. I'm going to do, first of all, I see that we have a new business in Lodi. I don't know the exact name. It's something Autumn or Summer something. It's a restaurant. It's over here on by St.
Summer
Joe's.
Street.
Summer Street, right? Do you know the name of it, to the exact name?
Yeah. Yeah, it's Summer and let me look it up real quick. But yeah, Summer and something. But yeah, it's right there on the corner of Summer Street.
Yeah. They it looks very, very nice. They're opening back up, I think, in November. I think they said they did like a soft opening, and then they're opening back up in November. It's literally very close to where I'm at. Great place, but I will say, anyone that's listening to this, please give them a shout out. Please support them. Please share them. I have no idea who's the business. I'm just saying it because it looks really, really dope. And in fact, when someone opens a business, you got to support that. And I'm just going to be real. That's a tough location. Like, that's a tough location. A very tough location. I've lived in Lodi half of my life, more than half of my life. I don't know. That's an extremely tough location. There it is, summer, autumn. So because it is such a tough location, and of course that we always want to promote small local businesses, like, let's just push them. Let's push this business even more. I want to really give them a lot of love, a lot of support, because it would be amazing to bring people to that area of Lodi too. That whole section is right by the Lodi Buffet, Spice Cardino's. There's a lot of businesses right there for rent still that could be, a lot of spaces. So it'll bring a lot of people to that side of the town again to bring them back. So, shout out to them for opening that. Another kind of like a local shout out to the Little League. Thank you, to my good friend, John Wyman is a good friend of mine. And we got the Little League. We're actually going to be filming there because we're working on you don't know, we're doing a Therapy Without a Degree TV show. All right. This was one of our actresses.
Hello.
And she's a woman of many trades. I can go down the list. And this guy as well, too. Cinematographer, assistant director, editor, gaffer, everything. So shout out to the Little League. We're going to be filming there about 4 days. So it's going to be dope. Shout out to Quay over here, wearing the merch, the Check on Your Strong Friend merch. And
hey, Joe.
Yes.
Just quickly, the Lodi Chamber of Commerce. Okay, yes. They're part. The restaurant you're talking about right now, Summer and Autumn. They're part of the Lodi Chamber. So if you go to their site, you're gonna see all these businesses. Okay, so this is how we get businesses to be successful and get people to them. So if you go to the Lodi Chamber of Commerce and you go, you like their page, and you'll see all the events for all these businesses, and we're trying to get more businesses to register with us. I'm also part of the chamber, so they're there, and it's great. Okay. But and also with the Lodi Can initiative as well. If you want volunteer opportunities, you go on there as well. I'll share that with you later on tonight.
Yeah, we'll talk a little bit more off air too, because you never know. Maybe Therapy Without a Degree, maybe be part of that. Who knows? Like I said, definitely send me more info about that. And thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much.
Fun. Nah, of course, y'all. Anytime. You're always welcome. Thank you again, too, for coming to our show, to the live pod. You got to hear all the craziness, you know what I'm saying, with the crazy comedians and everything. And
it was an amazing event. I forgot the name of the girl, but she was so funny. She was hilarious. The magician, awesome. It was a good event. So thank you for having that. And we had fun.
Yeah, I'm glad you did, and it was your birthday too. So that was a cool little thing for your birthday. We're definitely going to be having more. Last year we had a Friendsgiving at the Little League as well, and we also had a toy drive.
Oh, nice.
And we had a big holiday toy drive, and we did some really good things. So I'll send you the info because we're probably definitely going to do it again this year.
Awesome.
But Zain, any final words?
Thank you for being on the show.
Thank you. It was nice meeting you, and good luck.
Thank you.
Adios. And to everyone,
bye-bye.
It's been fun. Therapy Without a Degree.
Peace.
Subscribe to the YouTube, or else. Peace. Or else, I don't know. Or else what? Who knows?
You're trying to sound menacing?
What?
You're trying to sound menacing, threatening our youth.
Yes. Subscribe. We have a mission. We have a mission. Just subscribe, man. We got dope content.
Vote. November 3rd.
Vote and then subscribe. Peace.